welcome to our CoSIDA Special Awards video tribute. Today we are honoring our distinguished 2020 and 2021 Arch Award recipients. I'm Nick Guerrero, and I'm thrilled to speak to our most recent Arch Award honorees today. Our 2020 honoree, Judy Willson of LSU, and our 2021 honoree, Pete Moore of Syracuse. So we wish we could honor you both in person and in front of your peers and colleagues, yet thank you for joining us today via video. Congratulations to both of you on the Arch Award honor, which is presented annually to a CoSIDA member who has made outstanding contributions to the field of college sports information and who by his or her activities has brought dignity and prestige to the profession. What's especially significant is that the Arch Award honor is nominated by and voted upon by your peers. What does this award mean to you? Judy, we'll start with you first.
I think the biggest thing it means is that hopefully I've made a difference in the profession, in people's lives that I've met along the way throughout the last 30 years in doing sports information. I'm still kind of shocked that I was selected for this award. So it's a great honor and greatly appreciate those that nominated me.
What about you, Pete?
It means a lot to me as well for some of the reasons that Judy mentioned. But to be honored by your colleagues, your peers, your friends is really quite a thrill. And when you look at the list of the other people that have received this, it's pretty awe-inspiring. And we don't get in it to get awards, but truthfully, it's still a thrill to get one.
Pete, you served at Syracuse for a majority of your career, and prior to that, you're at D3 Ithaca. Judy, you've worked at schools and conferences at the D1 and D2 levels, most recently here at LSU. What makes the profession of athletic communication so special to you?
There's a lot of aspects of it that make it really special, but I think the biggest ones are probably the interactions that you have with the student athletes and the coaches and the staff and that you encounter, the media that you encounter along the way. Those relationships are really something. And at least for me, I've always been kind of a fan too. And so to be up close to big games and big performances and student athletes that work so hard and coaches that are so accomplished from a fan perspective is really exciting. And so I loved it every day I've been in it. I've been really fortunate to find something that I like to do as a profession. And I've been blessed to be at a couple of great schools. So that's helped too.
Along those same lines, we get to work in sports. Not everybody gets that opportunity, and that's what's so special about this profession, as well as the people. The people you meet along the way, not just our student athletes and our coaches, but administrators we get to know, other SIDs we get to know along the way. It's the people. It really is the people. So that's what makes this so special.
Continuing on the theme and accolades and recognitions from CoSIDA colleagues and your peers, both of you were elected into the CoSIDA officers rotations, serving as vice president of CoSIDA prior to assuming the role of presidency. For you, Pete, you served as CoSIDA's president 19 years ago during the 01-02 academic year. And yours prior to changing the bylaws, you served as an 11-year board member. Judy, your presidential year was 2015-16 when you became the fourth female in that role. What are you most proud of as a leader of CoSIDA, whether it be initiatives during your terms or your involvement today in the organization or on your campuses? Let's start with Judy, then we'll go over to Pete.
Well, having 2 stints on the board as an at-large rep and then as a past president, had the opportunity to work with some great board members that have become friends, and we still, touch base with each other. I think one of the biggest things that we did during the different times I was on the board, was building up an everyday staff for CoSIDA, and selecting executive directors and building that staff. So many of our members of the organization could now feel that they could be a part of the leadership and not have it take up so much of their time doing the day-to-day stuff of CoSIDA. I think that's probably one of the things I'm proudest of the most from serving on the board, as well as just watching the growth of the profession. And especially being the fourth female president, knowing that two more are coming up behind me and that I got to follow Shelley is just awesome. And to all the young ladies out there that are making their way, keep hanging in there. There are so many more of you now than there were when I started. And I just want to encourage them to keep doing what they're doing and grow this profession even more.
For me, CoSIDA has been such a big part of my career since I started in this business. First as, of course, just a member, but I was really interested in it, and I wanted to be able to give back in some way and to be an advocate for colleagues, and to be in a leadership position if it was felt that I could be helpful. And I loved it. I really enjoyed it. It meant a great deal to me to be able to go through the officer rotation. One of the things I'm proudest of is that I really wanted to have CoSIDA feel like we could all fit in one room, that it didn't matter what division we were, what school we were at, what part of the country we were at. It was really important to me that that each membership equaled any other membership. And you mentioned that it was a while ago, but at that time, I think there were some people at the small college level that weren't sure how they fit into overall CoSIDA. And so that was one of my motivating factors in getting involved. And I believe that changed. And now some of the small college folks are really more involved and have more opportunities. That was really important to me. But I enjoyed it so much. And I hope that my time on the board that we did some things that helped the organization. And as Judy mentioned, the chance to sit in a room with other board members, or to sit with past presidents on the nominating committee, as an example, there's such a sense of history when you're in that place. And it's something I'm really very proud of and feel very, very fortunate that I was able to do.
With all your experiences and time in leadership roles, what advice would you give to a member today in these challenging times in college athletics?
That's a really interesting question, because things have changed quite a bit, even in the last just couple of years. In general, I would say that one of the great things about our profession, I feel, is the chance to go and do something that you really enjoy. And I don't think that can be overrated. Sometimes you get a little bit caught up in the number of hours it might take. How many people get to say that they love what they do? And so emphasize that, and then follow your dream, try things. Most of all, mix with others, mix with your colleagues, ask questions, don't stop learning, keep going, try to keep up with the many changes in technology. And sports information folks are some of the most important people on campus and have some of the closest interactions with the students that are on that campus. Don't ever undervalue what you provide to a campus community. Anyone that feels like they'd be interested in it, I'd tell them go for it, and you'll find it very rewarding.
I think Pete covered it. It's an amazing profession. Where else do you get to go hang out and win national titles with your teams, or even just getting to know your student athletes for those 4 years and watching them grow? we had a challenging situation this week, and I looked at my two seniors that I came in with, and I said, all right, you have that opportunity to go get that title, go knock it out of the park. And the students that we come in contact just as SIDs. I think that's been probably one of my favorite things to do over the years, is just working with our students that want to do this job and watching them bring ideas to the table and make it our jobs better. So I think that's where we are.
Judy, I'll stay with you on this one. Who's helped you along the way? Are there people you'd like to acknowledge who have helped you throughout your career?
So there are the three Dougs: Doug Dull, Doug Mosley, and Doug Vance. I'm going to start with them. Whether they realize it or not, they're my go-tos, and at different points along the career. And then Larry Kane and Sean Ahern are names that you don't know anymore, but without them taking a chance on me 33 years ago to to be a GA at Northwest Missouri State and Pittsburgh State, I'm not in this business. And then the ladies along the way, Mary Beth Bruton, Chambers, ML, Starkinkle, Julie Bennett. Without Julie along the way, mentoring from the get-go, I don't think I'm making it this far. Then, of course, I have to recognize Shelley Poe and Tammy Beauclair. They paved the way for a lot of us, especially in leadership roles in CoSIDA. And then, my two go-tos right now, Andy Seeley, Jess Poole. Andy came in as a freshman at Northwest Missouri State when I was a GA, and we've been a tag team ever since. And to have him right behind me in the president's rotation was very special. And I don't think either one of us would have survived if we hadn't had the other along for that ride. So those are just a few of the many folks along the way who have been instrumental in my career.
The reason that's a tough question is there's so many people that have been involved and played a part. And I can remember the first convention I went to not knowing anybody, and deciding that if I was going to hang with this, that I needed to try to meet a handful. And then the next year I meet another handful, and it just kept getting bigger. And so I was really influenced by a great deal of people. But I certainly have to thank the schools that hired me, starting with Ashland College, my alma mater. And then I worked at Kansas Newman College for a couple years. The opportunity I had at Ithaca was phenomenal. Turned out to be right place, right time. Just a fantastic school with amazing coaches and student athletes, and a president, and Dr. Whalen, who was very supportive. They were very successful on the field at the time that I was there. And then to have the chance at Syracuse, which I hadn't anticipated. But when I made that move, it recharged my batteries. I had to learn a bunch of new things. It was completely different than the situation at Ithaca. And really, I think, gave me some fire to keep it going. And so I've been so blessed to be in those situations. As far as people go, I'll start with a couple of board compadres, and that would be Dave Woolheater and Fred Noosh, who were mainstays on the board for so long. And as it turned out, when I worked at Ithaca, Dave's Ithaca alum and worked at Cornell when I started at Ithaca, just across the hill there. So, and Fred, a friend to everybody. Really, the two of them were important mentors to me very early on. I'm going to mention Doug Vance too, not just from the time we served together on the board, but before that. Doug was one of the first leaders that I just walked up to and had a couple questions. He didn't know who I was, and he sat down with me and spent time with me, and we've been colleagues and friends ever since. And the fact that he took the time, meant a lot to me, and has always meant a lot to me. Another pal, Pete Carisno, who was at Cortland when I was at Ithaca. Cortland and Ithaca, if you don't know, are fierce rivals. But I get to Ithaca in 1986 and Pete's at Cortland, and we become fast friends and colleagues. And while the two schools were at war on the athletic fields, he and I were having a blast talking back and forth and comparing notes and those kind of things. I'm very fortunate that Sue Edson hired me at Syracuse, and what an unbelievable person she is to work with. I've never met anyone so devoted to an institution and to the student athletes and coaches. Just so that was a great experience. And I'll throw in John Paquette too, who's I worked with when Syracuse was in the Big East. John was a mentor to me, but there's hundreds of them, Nick. I hate to leave anybody out, but I'm really, any success I've had, it's been because of the people that I've encountered along the way. And so many of them are CoSIDA folk.
That's awesome. Before we end this, any final thoughts you want to share with the people that are watching, Pete, and then we'll finish off with Judy.
The last thing I think I would just reiterate is the people I've had the chance to work with. And for me, some of the most meaningful relationships have been students that worked in our office. So they weren't student athletes necessarily, but they wanted to get into our business. And many of them have gone on to great success in the field. There's very few things that can make you feel as good as that happening, as well as the assistants or the other staff members that you work with that are part of your group. Seeing them succeed is really cool. And finally, I thank my family, my mom and dad, who, God bless them, always encouraged me to do what I wanted to do and supported me regardless of what it was. And then my family, my wife, Catherine, and our kids who have understood when I've had to work a little bit, and also who have joined in. And I got a real kick out of having that participation happen too. So I'm very appreciative of this. CoSIDA has always meant so much to me, and it's just a tremendous thrill.
So my words would be enjoy the ride. You know, you're going to have those ups and downs along the way in this profession. And just remember that your family comes first and you come first. Your health comes first. I'm about to go see my parents for the first time in 18 months since COVID started. And it's important that you be around the people that love you and that you love. I want to thank my mom and dad. And then I have 2 brothers and a sister and 15 nieces and nephews that they just think Judy has a cool job. And I'm looking forward to getting to spend a little more time with them in the coming years. So yeah, all right, you know me. Y'all had bets on how many times I would cry during my president's speeches. So here we go. Yes, just blessed by everybody that I've gotten to know over the years through CoSIDA, and looking forward to getting to even know more of you in the coming years.
All right, Pete and Judy, thank you for your time, and thank you for your years of dedication to CoSIDA and the profession. Congratulations again on your respective Arch Award awards. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick, and congrats, Judy.
Thanks. Congrats, Pete.